The Injured Senior Podcast is here to help. Like it or not, the senior and elderly population is vulnerable to negligence committed by medical professionals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, pharmaceutical and medical device companies, insurance companies, and everyday individuals and businesses. Your host, Steve Heisler, creator of the National Injured Senior Law Center, has been advocating for seniors' rights for over 30 years and is bringing you answers to your questions. This is the Injured Senior Podcast.
Well, howdy to all in our injured senior, elderly, and aging population community. As you know, my name is Steve Heisler, founder and CEO of the National Injured Senior Law Center. And you are tuned in to, yes, another episode of the Injured Senior Podcast. Now, for those of you who are new to our show, the Injured Senior Podcast is a show dedicated to discussing legal and medical issues of vital importance to the injured senior, elderly, and aging community, and to their children, loved ones, and caregivers. I want to quickly say thank you to the National Injured Senior Law Center for their kind sponsorship of this show. The National Injured Senior Law Center represents senior individuals who are harmed through no fault of their own by the negligence of others. For more information, go to injuredseniorhotline.com. Also, please check out our new website at injuredseniorpodcast.com. That's been a long time coming, and it's finally up. You can download our latest special report, The Top Danger to Seniors in the Hospital, by going to injuredseniorpodcast.com. Okay. Let us jump into today's show. There's nothing more despicable than the exploitation of the aging population, let alone any age group. Elder abuse occurs in many forms, including financial exploitation. Now, according to TrueLink, a business that provides account monitoring software for seniors and their families, financial elder abuse and exploitation accounts for more than $36 billion in losses to seniors. Ladies and gentlemen, that is just reprehensible, as I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. Now, Dr. Peter Lichtenberg is here today to discuss financial exploitation of seniors and the elderly. Dr. Lichtenberg is the director of the Institute of Gerontology and the Merrill Palmer Skillman Institute. He is a professor of psychology at Wayne State University in Michigan as well. He's particularly interested in the area of intersection between financial capacity and financial exploitation. In 2013, he published the first nationally representative study on predictors of older adult scam victims. In 2015, he published the Lichtenberg Financial Decision-Making Rating Scale and the Lichtenberg Financial Decision Screening Scale. These tools can be used to assess major financial decisions and or transactions of older adults. So, Dr. Lichtenberg, you created 3 scales to help financial exploitation investigations. Can you describe them?
Sure. And we just created a 4th one, which actually, let me start with the 4th one, which is brand new. And it's called the Financial Exploitation Survey. It's on our website, olderadultnestegg.com. That one, older adult themselves can go on our website, go on our older adult landing page, take this survey and see if they are at enhanced vulnerability for exploitation. And then we give them some ideas for next steps. The other 3 scales that
so they go to your website, they would go to oldernestegg.com and they can actually be directed to the survey, which will let them know whether or not they're being exploited or not.
Whether they're at higher risk for being exploited. Exactly.
Okay.
Whether they have some of those vulnerabilities that are associated with cases of financial exploitation. And also on our website there, we have for those who've been victimized by scams or identity thefts and they can't seem to get their credit cleaned up, those kinds of things. We have a link for our SAFE program. We'll do some financial coaching with them at no charge and help them out with that. Now, the 3 scales that you mentioned, we created for professionals, and the longest scale is for mental health professionals who are really doing more of an in-depth financial capacity assessment. And they get at these informed decision-making aspects, but also gets at the context within which somebody makes these decisions. If I have a lot of expertise in finances in older age, I'm going to carry that with me. But if I don't, and I have a lot of uncertainty and lack of confidence, that's going to influence me as well. Or if I have a lot of relationship strain around finances, I feel like people want my money and it's causing strain, or it's very overt. And we find maybe up to a third of older adults are feeling this kind of relationship strain around finances as they've gotten older with one of their family members or friends. So those contextual things can really impact our decision-making abilities. Our 10-item scale I described, this is what the APS workers use and others. Really gets at the informed decision-making aspects. And then we have a 14-item, what we call family and friends interview. And this gives the family member or friend a chance to see whether their concerns about an older adult show the older adult to be at higher risk, whether they think this person is at risk of being exploited. And so we have it family and friends questionnaire on our family and friends page that they can fill out and get feedback about, and a report that they can take to a health practitioner or social service practitioner if they're concerned about their older parent, their loved one.
So the family and friends can actually go to oldernestegg.com and they can do their own survey to find out whether their elder or senior parent or grandparent is actually more susceptible, or
that's right, or it's actually even at high risk right now for being exploited. And okay. so this older adult nest egg website, we started with these 3 scales for professionals. We've grown it now. We've got a scale and a website and resources for family and friends and for the older adult themselves. So it's really becoming more of a place for the general public as well.
Right. But so like you said, you started out just for professionals who to help them be able to recognize this, correct?
Correct. Because, there's too few tools out there and evidence-based tools, research supported, validated tools. There's too few of them. And so we thought, hey, let's create one and let's try to validate it. And then let's try to disseminate it.
So the mental health professionals, this is what they're doing is they're seeing or treating someone for some type of mental health issue. And this is to help them actually be able to uncover whether or not this is going on is that one thing that it does?
Thank you, Steve. Really, this is the intersection of where capacity and exploitation meet because, and this is how I started too, as a mental health professional, geriatric neuropsychologist. People were asking me to do capacity assessments on these older adults, and I was finding out all kinds of things about exploitation as well. And so and it's at that nexus, when you don't have capacity, you're much more at risk for exploitation. And so that's where it really helps a mental health professional. Most of these folks are doing capacity assessments for whether the person can manage their own money, whether they need a power of attorney or conservator, that kind of thing. And lo and behold, they often, when they find problems in that regard, are also finding the dark side of capacity, which is financial exploitation.
And if they suspect that that's going on after using this, the scales, do they contact you? I mean, do you find that you're getting contacted, or are they directed to go to Adult Protective Services, or?
They are directed to go to Adult Protective Services. They're also directed to find ways to intervene with the older adult to try to help them stop before they make this decision. Hopefully, it's preemptively. And there's a number of other resources that we provide for them as far as important websites, reporting places like the Federal Trade Commission, Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, the FBI. We want to direct people to where they should report it. And definitely it's important not to just keep it a secret, and because then you're part of the problem. So if you uncover it, you've got to report it and push it.
Got it. And again, maybe I missed it, but what was number 2 and number 3? As far as on the scale, you said so that there was a mental health professionals,
the mental health
one.
square, and then the screening scale was the second one. That's for anybody that's working with older adults who are making a financial decision, like our bankers could be, our financial planners have used it, attorneys use it. And of course, as we said, all protective service people use it. And number 3 is when the original family and friends interview was an interview given by professionals to a informant who might give a third party view on what's going on. So we created those 3 scales. Then we adapted the family and friends one for family and friends. And then we created the new exploitation survey. So we've got 5 different scales out there that are all on our website. All the training for these scales is narrated online, free of charge to use the scales. We give you a report, we give you recommendations, and we give you resources. Yeah,
there's a lot of resources, a lot of tools. You were coming down kind of like to the end of the show, Dr. Lichtenberg. So have you been able to determine whether or not the scales are successful, or how successful have they been, or is it helping?
We're really thrilled about the usage worldwide, actually, UK, Australia, United States. So we're able to track that, or the trainings, the certification, but we have all of our empirical studies are on our resource page for our website. And we've not only validated these instruments, but we've also done some what we call implementation science work to show how best to implement them in your community as a professional.
Okay. So if I'm a senior elder individual who suspects that I might be the victim of financial exploitation, or I'm a caregiver, a child, a loved one, can you give 1 or 2 action steps that they can take to get the ball rolling in the right direction?
First thing is, and we have a module on this, difficult conversations. You have to have a conversation with older adults, and you have to do it in a way that doesn't scare them off. You have to partner with them. You have to join with them. You have to understand their perspective. You can't just come in and demand they change. And that's where it starts. That really is where it starts. Then you can start to problem solve. There's a lot of things that we could do in terms of limiting the amount, for example, that goes out of your bank account at any one time, alerts that are put on. You can work with a money manager, reporting, as I said, if it's a crime, reporting to the police and so forth. But it all starts with that difficult conversation and getting so if you're a family working together.
Yeah. So if you're a family member or whatever, right, it's being able to have that conversation. But if you're actually the senior or elder who's listening to this and says, hey, I get it. I think that I might be being scammed or whatever. What should that person do?
Yeah. Work with a trusted other person. Think about who you really can trust, and always maybe even have a third person have eyes on whatever you and that trusted person are doing, just as a kind of a regular check. Because if you're into this and you're sort of realizing it, you might need help to get out of it. And you might need help to, you might need to change accounts. You might need to clean up your credit, and we can help you with that. So you can contact us, come on our website, you'll see the SAFE program, send in some information, and we will be in touch with you and try to help you work through those issues.
That is awesome. That really is. I mean, and the fact that you give free coaching or online training, you're actually out to help, not to just profit. and
Absolutely. We are really out to help. We've helped over 120 people with our one-on-one financial coaching. Over half of them get money retrieved or saved. So it really can make a huge difference in people's lives.
That is great. That is just great, Dr. Lichtenberg. Many thanks for coming on the show. I mean, this just flew by. I feel like we were just talking about cheesesteaks. And of course, thanks for educating our community about financial exploitation, of our, the aging population. And unfortunately, it's very sad, but like you said, it's very prevalent. So how can any of our listeners find you? Obviously, you mentioned the website. What's the website address again?
Yep. Older Adult Nest Egg, all one word, .com.
Okay. If they want to maybe email you or somebody about some issues that they might have, would they be able to email?
Yeah, there's a form on that website that they can use, or they can email me directly at aa2275@wayne.edu.
You're not just a spokesperson. You roll up your sleeves and you're actually helping people yourself. So that's
absolutely. First half of my career was outside of academia as a clinician, working with people every day. That's what I love to do.
That's great. And if anyone wants to find you on social media, what are some of the social media platforms that you're on, Dr. Lichtenberg?
LinkedIn's the best one. I'm on the LinkedIn platform. The Institute of Gerontology, which I direct, has a Facebook platform. I personally shifted off of Facebook just for whatever reason, I don't know. And I have yet to become a Twitter person, so I'm still kind of old school.
Yeah, well, I tell you, the Facebook thing, my kids tell me that Facebook is, gone the way of the dinosaurs, and they kind of chuckle when I say I'm on Facebook, but that's really enough for me. We grew up not knowing it. There was no social media. I mean, the biggest challenge we had was the rotary phone. So I mean, that was it, or the CB that we had.
Yes.
Thanks again, Dr. Lichtenberg. We really want to have you back because there's so many other issues, or we could maybe zero in on something that might be a particular issue and do a whole show on that. Will you come back?
I'd love to, and thanks for having me, Steve. I really enjoyed the conversation. Same
to you, and take care, and I guess good luck to the Lions. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. But Injured senior and aging population community. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I want to thank again Dr. Lichtenberg, Dr. Peter Lichtenberg, for appearing on the show today. If you love the Injured Senior Podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes. If you want to share your story on an upcoming show, maybe you've been the victim of financial exploitation, we would love to have your input and have you on the show to give us your experience. But if you have any other suggestions or comments about the show, you can go to our injuredseniorpodcast.com website, and there's actually on that homepage, you can click on leave a message and actually leave a message, which we will get, and then we will get back to you. Or you could always email me at steve@injuredseniorhotline.com. As you know, I answer all emails, just like Dr. Lichtenberg. So, I definitely want you to reach out to me if you would like to. So until next time, be safe. Looking forward to next week's show, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Injured Senior Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please rate, subscribe, review, and share on Apple, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us at injuredseniorpodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter. To find out more or to get help at any time, visit injuredseniorpodcast.com or call 855-622-6530. That's 855-622-6530.